Hey everyone. Feeling that pinch, like your money's not stretching as far as it used to. Inflation's a real pain. But what if we could learn to not just get by, but actually thrive? That's what we're going to do today. We're diving deep into, get this, a YouTube video.
From YouTube?
Yeah, no, it's not some get-rich-quick thing. This is about Warren Buffett's strategies for making money during inflation. It's called Warren Buffett, How to Make Money During Inflation, from the channel John's Money Adventures.
You know, I gotta admit, I'm kind of curious. Warren Buffett, he's not just some random investor. He's like a legend. He's seen it all.
Right. He's weathered all those market storms.
Exactly. And he knows how inflation messes with how much you can actually buy with your money, that purchasing power, you know?
Yeah, that's huge.
He's really passionate about teaching people how to not just protect their money, but make it grow even when inflation's going crazy.
Okay, so let's jump in. The first thing that stood out to me was Buffett's thing about investing in companies with pricing power. What's that all about?
Okay, so imagine companies like, say, Apple or Coca-Cola. They have those diehard fans, right?
Definitely.
And those fans, they're willing to pay more even when prices go up.
So they can raise prices without losing customers.
Exactly. That's pricing power. Even when inflation makes their costs go up, they can still make a profit.
So their profits stay strong.
Yeah. And you know what's really interesting? The video gave some examples of companies that did really well during COVID, like Kroger, CVS Health, and TJX. That's the parent company of TJ Maxx.
Really? They made money during the pandemic. I'm surprised.
Yeah. They had, get this, combined profits of $99 billion.
$99 billion.
Yep. While other businesses were struggling, these companies were proving how powerful pricing power can be.
Wow. Makes me wonder if my investments are ready for inflation.
That's a great question. And it leads right into Buffett's next point. You got to measure your investment returns against inflation. You might see a 10% annual return and think, sweet.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
But is it really 10%?
Wait, what do you mean?
So let's say inflation's running at 7% and you're getting that 10% return. Sounds awesome, right?
Yeah.
But you got to factor in how much your money's actually worth now because of inflation.
Oh, I see.
Your real return, the actual gain after inflation, is only about 3%.
Oh, wow. So it's not as much as it seems.
Right. The video talked about exactly that, how you can work really hard but not get as far ahead as you think.
Like running on a treadmill, you're putting in the effort, but...
Exactly. And this applies to bonds, too. The video mentioned interest rate bonds recently had, get this, a negative 2.2% return.
Oh. So inflation's sneaky. It impacts returns in ways you wouldn't expect. So what can we do about it? What's Warren Buffett's take?
Well, this might sound a little different, but he says invest in yourself.
Invest in myself. What does that even mean?
It's about building valuable skills that are in high demand that you can offer at, today's prices. Skills that'll be useful no matter what the economy is doing.
So I'm like my own best performing stock?
Exactly. You become your most valuable asset. By becoming indispensable in your field, you control your own growth. That could mean getting certifications, learning new things, even just getting really, really good at what you already do.
Okay, I'm liking this idea. It's like I'm building my own pricing power. And speaking of companies, what about gold? I know a lot of people see that as a safe bet during inflation.
Right, many people do. They think it's a safe haven, but Buffett, he calls it an unproductive asset.
Unproductive? Why is that?
Because it just sits there. It doesn't generate income or dividends. He believes in investing in things that work for you, that create more value.
But why do people consider it a safe haven?
They see it as a store of value, something that holds its worth even when currencies are all over the place. But Buffett's point is that gold just sits there while inflation eats away at its value.
Interesting. So what's the alternative?
He's big on finding businesses with low startup costs, especially if you're thinking about starting something yourself. Businesses where you can use your skills without needing a ton of money up front.
Gotcha. So what kind of businesses are we talking about?
Think about things like digital courses, where you share your expertise, or becoming a content creator, a graphic designer, a developer, a writer, maybe even software development or event planning.
Oh, I see. Things you can start without a lot of overhead.
Exactly. That way, you can adjust to the changing economy without being weighed down by a bunch of costs.
So it's like these are mini companies with built-in pricing power because you're always improving your skills and offering them a current value.
You got it. You can change your pricing as the market changes, which gives you a huge advantage during inflation.
This is all making a lot of sense. It's about being adaptable, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now let's talk about stocks. I know it's a big part of Buffett's strategy, but honestly, stocks can be kind of scary. especially with all the talk about market volatility.
That's where Buffett's approach is really different. He's not about those quick wins or chasing trends. He's all about thoughtful, long-term ownership.
So he's in it for the long haul.
Yep. He actually uses this analogy about buying a shop. He compares buying stocks to buying a whole business, not just some piece of paper.
Okay, I like that. So how do we apply that? How do we think like Buffett when it comes to stocks?
Do your research, understand the business you're putting your money into, and be patient. He doesn't look for quick gains. He looks for long-term value.
So it's not just gambling on random companies.
Nope. Think of it like becoming a part owner. You got to choose businesses you believe in and hold on to them.
Okay, I can see that. But how long is long term?
Well, Buffett typically holds his investments for at least 10 years.
Wow, 10 years.
That way, he can ride out the ups and downs of the market and benefit from the company's growth over time.
That makes sense. But it's a totally different mindset than just trying to make a quick buck. It actually sounds a lot less stressful knowing that you're not constantly checking the market every minute.
Right. It's about shifting from like a gambler's mindset to a more grounded ownership mindset.
I'm really liking this. This is great. So it seems like a lot of Buffett's strategies are about building resilience. It's not just about making money during inflation. It's about creating a foundation that can handle anything.
You got it. It's about having a plan, being prepared, and being in control of your finances. Making smart decisions that will pay off over time.
Right. It's like we're building a financial fortress, like you said earlier.
Exactly. It's about shifting from scarcity to abundance, you know?
Yeah.
It's about realizing that even when things are tough, there are still opportunities to grow. Inflation might feel scary, but it can actually push us to make positive changes.
So instead of just trying to survive, we're looking for ways to thrive.
Exactly. It can be the motivation we need to invest in ourselves, learn new skills, build businesses that can adapt and be resilient. It's about turning a threat into an opportunity.
Wow. That's a powerful way to look at it. We're not letting inflation control us. We're using it as fuel to move forward.
Speaking of fuel, let's go back to stocks for a second. I want to dive a little deeper into Buffett's shop analogy. I love thinking about stocks like buying a whole business, but what does that actually look like? What do we do?
It's about really getting to know the businesses you're investing in. It's not enough to just glance at their stock price or how they did last quarter. You got to go deeper.
Okay, so what questions should we be asking? What should we be looking for?
Start with the basics. What do they sell? Who are their customers? What makes them stand out from the competition?
Right, like what are their strengths?
Exactly. You got to look beyond just the numbers. Try to get a feel for the company's culture, what they value, their long-term vision.
So it's like getting to know them almost like a person, you know? Yeah, you want to invest in companies you actually believe in, companies that match your own values. Because at the end of the day, you're not just investing in a company, you're investing in their future. And if you believe in that future, the little ups and downs of the market won't seem so scary.
Yeah, I see that. It's about trusting your choices and sticking with your plan, even when things get a little rocky.
Exactly. And that confidence comes from understanding the businesses you're supporting.
Okay, that makes sense. And, what I find really interesting about Buffett's approach is that it's not just about making money. It's about aligning your investments with your values.
Absolutely.
He's all about investing in companies that do good in the world, companies he's proud to be a part of.
You know, that's one of the things that really struck me about the video. It's not just about profit, it's about purpose.
Right. Making your money work for you, A&D, for the greater good.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. We talked about investing in companies with pricing power, sharpening our skills to earn more, and being smart about how inflation affects our returns. We even talked about gold and those low-capital businesses. It's pretty empowering to realize that we have so many options for navigating these times.
It really is. We've seen how Warren Buffett's approach to inflation is all about being proactive. It's about taking control of your finances and making smart decisions that set you up for success.
It's about having a plan, being able to adapt, and most importantly, believing that you can not just survive, but thrive, no matter what the economy throws your way.
And that's a really powerful message. We're not just helpless victims of inflation.
Right. We can make choices.
We can take action.
And we can create a brighter financial future for ourselves.
Exactly.
This has been so insightful. I'm really curious to know what stood out to you the most from this video. What really resonated with you?
It's the idea of constantly investing in yourself. You know, in a world where inflation's always there, your skills and knowledge are like your superpowers.
Superpowers. I like that.
They don't get weaker with inflation. They actually get stronger. The more expertise people need, the more valuable you become.
Right. The more you know, the more you grow. But how do we actually do that? How do we invest in ourselves?
It doesn't always have to be fancy degrees or expensive courses. It can be simple things like reading books,
Oh, yeah.
listening to podcasts like this one, going to workshops, or even just talking to people who know more than you.
I love that. It's all about being a lifelong learner. Always curious, always open to new ideas. It's not about spending a ton of money. It's about committing to growing.
Exactly. And the best part is it creates this awesome cycle. You invest in yourself. You become more confident, more resilient. And those are the superpowers you need to handle any economy, especially one with inflation.
Okay, so let's put it all together. We started talking about how inflation can make us feel like we're losing money. But looking at Warren Buffett's strategies, we found a whole new way to think about it. It's not just about protecting what we have. It's about finding ways to actually do better.
We've seen how powerful it is to invest in companies with pricing power. Those companies that can handle the inflation storms.
Yeah. And we talked about figuring out real returns, making sure our investments are really growing, not just keeping up with inflation.
And we can't forget about investing in ourselves, becoming our own best assets by constantly learning and growing, building that foundation of knowledge and skills. Inflation can't touch that.
It's about taking control, building a future where inflation doesn't hold us back. It actually helps us grow and succeed.
It really is. This has been a great conversation. It's eye-opening to see that we have so many options for dealing with these crazy times.
I completely agree. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools to use. Now, before we wrap up, I have one last question for you and for everyone listening. What's one thing you can do today to feel more in control of your financial future?
It can be anything. Maybe you finally sign up for that online course you've been thinking about, or research companies with strong pricing power. Maybe even brainstorm some business ideas that use your skills. The key is to take action.
Don't just let this information sit there. Pick one thing, big or small, and make it happen. Remember, you have the power to create a better financial future, no matter what the economy is doing.
That's right. You have the power to thrive. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep investing in yourself.
You know, for me, it's that thing about constantly investing in yourself. That really stuck with me. It's like in a world where inflation's just always hanging around, your skills and knowledge, those are your most valuable assets.
Yeah, they can't be eaten away by inflation.
Right. And the more expertise is in demand, the more valuable you become.
That's so true. So how do we actually put that into practice? How do we invest in ourselves? What does that look like?
It's not always about like going back to school or taking these expensive courses. It can be as simple as reading books.
Oh, yeah. Love that.
Listening to podcasts like we're doing right now.
Of course.
Attending workshops. Or even just talking to people who are, smarter than you.
Yeah. I love that. It's about being a lifelong learner.
Exactly.
Always being curious, open to new ideas.
It's not about spending a ton of money. It's about making that commitment to keep growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the best part, and is it creates this positive feedback loop, right?
Totally.
The more you invest in yourself, the more confident you become and the more resilient.
And that's what you need, especially in an economy with inflation.
Makes total sense. Okay, so let's bring it all home. We started off talking about how inflation can make us feel like we're losing ground financially. But looking at these strategies from Warren Buffett, we found a whole new perspective.
We've explored how powerful it can be to invest in companies with pricing power.
Yeah, those companies that can handle those inflation storms.
We talked about the importance of figuring out those real returns.
While making sure our investments are truly growing.
Not just keeping pace.
Right. And we can't forget about investing in ourselves.
The most important investment.
Becoming our own best assets by constantly learning and growing.
Building that strong foundation of knowledge and skills that inflation can't touch.
It's about taking control.
Building a future where inflation doesn't hold us back.
It fuels our growth.
Our success.
I love it. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. It's been fantastic. I feel like I have this whole new set of tools for navigating these tricky times.
Me too.
Before we go, though, I have one last question. For you and for everyone listening, what's one thing you can do today to feel more in control of your financial future?
It could be anything. Maybe it's finally signing up for that online course.
Oh, yeah.
Or researching companies with strong pricing power.
That add to your portfolio.
Or maybe brainstorm some low-capital business ideas that use your awesome skills and talents.
The most important thing is to take action. Don't just let this information sit there. Pick one thing, anything, big or small, and make it happen. Because remember, you have the power to create a brighter financial future.
No matter what the economy is doing.
You have the power to not just survive, but thrive.
Thrive. That's the key. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep investing in yourself.